Hello, bonjour, bon jovial to see you even. I don't know why there are so many YouTubers getting creepy with 17-year-olds because ew, 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 ew. And I have seen some sentiments of people being like, oh, whatever, we already knew he sucked. And like, this is like an entirely different category of bad. Social Repose, apparently, he's creepy to minors too. Or minor, at least one, but who don't know, he's like, sure, I'll put a picture of him. He sucks. He sucks. He sucks. For the youth, Glenn, another YouTuber, Repose cheated on her, and she made like a song out of text to the other person. It's neat. And it also goes to show this dude has a history of various suckage. It was Riley Elena, this YouTuber. One of my favorite YouTubers has been doing some videos about this situation with like a plethora of receipts. Ignore the scratch. Don't question it. He had never been known to be like a creep to minors, or at least thought of in that way widely. He was associated with Davi Vanity, which, for again, the youths, if you don't know, like emo scene back in ye olden days when that was really popping off, as the youth say. He was in Blood on the Dance Floor, which was just like a very big in like scene culture, basically. Big band. They cultivated an audience. At the beginning, you could say that it probably wasn't intentionally super young, maybe in the case of Blood on the Dance Floor, but knowing how things ended up with that guy.
Yes. Give me your bras right now. Give me all your bras. I want them all. Give me your bras right now.
Editing this video, and I was going to get a picture of like articles and stuff, because the guy's not in jail, by the way. And I found out, apparently Blood on the Dance Floor at the end of 2025 released another fucking album. So today I learned. He has a lot of history with a lot of very problematic figures, to say the least.
That includes, but is likely not limited to, Davi Vanity, Brian Stars, Jeffree Star, Austin Jones, Onision and his partner Lucas, William Control, and later on in the timeline, Shane Dawson. That is 8 known predators in his orbit that we know of.
This guy's been around for a while. I would consider him one of the cockroaches of the just general alternative online community. I think it's likely due to just, he has a very distinctive look, in case y'all couldn't tell. I've heard that he's going a bit, not viral, what is the word for, I don't know, on the TikToks. He's getting so many hits on the TikToks recently, and I think it's largely because platform hopping, they don't know what he did. I feel like there's been a fairly strong culture on YouTube. A handful of people who do kind of just acknowledge as like, they fucking suck. They suck. They suck. Cough, cough, Cody Co. Also you. It's disgusting. Honestly, I do think it comes down largely to looks, aesthetic. I mean, he like sings, makes music and shit too. That'll be brought up later. But it's really bad. It's really bad. And I think it does go to show a lot of how the dynamics between like celebrities and people versus YouTubers and people, and then more popular YouTubers and people, or at least ones who may have closer connections to like proper celebrities at the time. Those lines have gotten a lot more blurred. I think it's important to do a little review of what's going on. As soon as somebody sends a cease and desist, something in me breaks. My little spiteful bone explodes. I get very upset. Upset-a-roo.
So, real update, I was just emailed a cease and desist letter from Richie and Richie's attorney, whatever. I'm not going to post those here, but yes, I was just emailed a cease and desist. They're trying to sue me for, well, they're claiming they're going to sue me for defamation if I don't delete the video and just be quiet, basically. That's what it came down to. Richie, they're your statements. Like time-stamped. Like, I can't defame you with your own statements. You do understand this, right? I mean, hey, if you want me to show that in court, I mean, by all means, whatever. I guess I'll preserve all the evidence. That's fine, but like, I can't defame you with your statements. So yeah, go fuck yourself. Filed a copyright strike to get my video taken down.
So I feel not obligated. I feel thrilled to share that this guy sucks. But I do just think someone needs to make a really quick rundown about the recent updates, because it's been a lot. Lots of information from different sources who can't be provably traced back to these situations. Video is going to be broken down. Just first, quick rundown. After we're done with going through the basic events of like what's being alleged, then we will go over some of the statement to cut it down to just primarily the most important bit. We'll go over that, try to distill that down as much as possible, just to make sure it's as easy to go over, as I do think it's important for people to kind of at least vaguely understand like the full scope of what's kind of happening and implications, you know, because people just hear, oh, maybe you texted a minor. I know, fucked as it is, that's not gonna make people as mad as it should, but it's pretty grimy. It's pretty damn grimy. I think more people should talk about it, especially dudes, because I know some people just don't care about shit that affects women until it's said by a guy. So there's that. I think if just make a fucking TikTok or whatever, do what you can so they can't cease and desist all of us. I don't think that has like any water at all. There has been discussion that it's possible that Social Repose was aware of the things going on with Davi Vanity as far as his fondness for minors.
Blood on the dance floor. They were big. They were already selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merch. They were selling a ton of tickets. But this was in 2011, 2012. When I toured with them, it was 2014. They weren't totally done. They weren't totally irrelevant. Some people came. But when I signed on to that tour, because I played a couple local shows with Blood on the dance floor where they asked me, a local band, to sell 100 tickets, and I bought 84 of them. Davi saw that I could sell a bunch of tickets locally, and he obviously got green in his eyes, and he's like, oh, well, you should tour with us. That's going to be $4,000, please, for the tour. Which at the time, I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, it's a national tour. I need the exposure. I was just coming up on social media. I didn't really have a lot of music out, but I was ready to do it. And Blood on the Dance Floor at the time already did not have a great reputation. Everyone, at least in the scene, already knew that Davi Vanity was a creep. Like, it was known information. None of it obviously confirmed, because he would go to jail if it was confirmed, because, you know, statutory thing. But none of it was confirmed, and this big artist offered me a tour, obviously, for a big chunk of change.
Still performed in those shows, still encouraged his like fairly young fan base, middle school, high school crap. Like, I'm not making fun of them. Look at me. Bring more attention to this guy who he knew, allegedly, was a creep. That's one of the points being alleged in the prior videos by Riley. I want to say it's the one that he tried to strike. Go support her. Go support her. I'm just some dude who's annoyed about it. Annoyed is a weak word, but you know. On a level with y'all, I do trust that she does actually have the unredacted information. I do. And do trust that. And I would say a large part of why I trust that one is this person, very in-depth. And when they didn't have, like, remotely as many subscribers, they were still making pretty damn in-depth videos with clearly a lot of effort and research going in. So there's really not much incentive here. Like, I don't see any incentive here, actually, with the amount of, like, stress and harassment she's been getting. The threat of her channel being, like, fucking terminated. What the hell? I just don't think it's fair for her to have to deal with all of that. Especially if something happens to her channel. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Regardless, I do believe in the ability, at least as somebody who can, like, portray this information and redact out just the things that need to be redacted for privacy purposes while not obfuscating, like, the actual points they're trying to make and prove. So that's just an important note there. Waiting for sirens to pass. I don't know if you can hear them. How's that weather? Siren-y?
I was going to the Blood on the Dance Floor concert, the Reckoning Tour in Salt Lake City, Utah, at a concert hall called Murray Theater, I believe, in Salt Lake City.
So she first saw Richie's Social Repose at his merch table, but at this point, she was not aware that he was an act, like, at all. She didn't know who he was at all. Katie thought he was cute, liked his vibe, I guess. Fellow Blood on the Dance Floor fan. She told the group of friends that she was hanging out with that she thinks he's cute, and they were all like, ooh, we should talk to him. So they did, and it went from chatting to full-on talking. She says that they had initially bonded over the fact that Katie's from Maryland, and Richie is apparently also from Maryland. So they hit it off, we're kind of talking for a while, and then suddenly he has to say, oh, hang on, I need to go perform. And it's just like, huh? What? So you go, see your idol, meet someone else you think is there to see your idol, and suddenly they're performing. Because you didn't, I'm sure we all know how. A lot more vulnerable or suggestible because of the company that they're in and because of the perception that she already held before. If you want to act like 17-year-olds just aren't more vulnerable to that sort of thing, you're wrong. Shut up. That's that point. She's smitten. Been talking at the event they're still talking.
In conversation, he asked me how old I was, and I said, oh, I'm 17, but, I'll be 18 here in a few months, like in July. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And then I, in return, asked him how old he was, and he literally smiled at me, and he was like, well, that's a secret. And I was like, oh, y'all, when I say that should have been red flag number 1.
Allegedly, he goes, hey, do you want to come with me to my car while I, pull around so I can pack up my stuff? And she's like, yeah, cool. They get in the car, and apparently the atmosphere just very quickly changed. He spoke about wanting to, hey, want to come back to my hotel room? That kind of thing. Y'all see what I mean? If your grandchild, who is 17 years old, is going to a concert, you're not going to let them go to, a hotel that... No. End up just, chatting online over Facebook and end up talking about plan, hanging out, next day, very shortly afterwards, while she was still at her grandparents' house. Fell asleep that prior night, that was why he stopped responding, but then he gave her his personal phone number. We're trying to just iron out plans. Timing didn't work out. Continue talking. It'd be some weird shit. Talking about fooling around, winking emojis.
Using euphemistic language such as fooling around in place of specific explicit terms used to refer to sexual activity is also not a defense. Actors of these offenses, more often than not, will not explicitly refer to sexual acts as sexual acts. Not protective. Fooling around in the context of this conversation, and given the earlier statement of making out, right, would legally be recognized as referring to a sexual act. Again, fooling around is an extremely common, one of the most common euphemistic phrases to refer to explicit acts. It is not a defense to use euphemistic language in place of explicit terms. That does not matter. A crime was still committed. We have a discussion about Utah Code 76-4-401, aka enticing a minor. The Utah age of consent is 18. Actor commits enticement of a minor if the actor knowingly A, uses an electronic communication or an electronic communication device to solicit, seduce, lure, or entice a minor, or to attempt to solicit, seduce, lure, or entice a minor, or another person that the actor believes to be a minor to engage in sexual activity that is a violation of state criminal law, or develops a relationship of trust with the minor or the minor's parent or guardian with the intent to solicit, seduce, lure, or entice, or attempt to solicit, seduce, lure, or entice the minor to engage in sexual activity that is a violation of state criminal law. Attempting to solicit from a minor is a crime in itself. An attempt to solicit, seduce, lure, or entice via electronic communication is a crime in and of itself, even before said explicit acts take place, and even if there's no follow-through. Tempt someone, allure. And as far as solicitation, this is what the Utah legislature states constitutes solicitation. And this is Code 76-4-205, which outlines legal and procedural defenses to solicitation. This is not the same as 76-4-401, enticement of a minor. 76-4-401 is the law that was broken, okay? The law of enticement of a minor. 76-4-205 just expands on what legally constitutes solicitation, what constitutes a minor, an actor, aka offender, etc. Minor means an individual who is younger than 18 years old. Solicit means to ask, command, encourage, importune, offer to hire, or request. Not being aware is not a defense. It is always the responsibility of the actor to ensure that they are not engaging inappropriately with someone under 18. Ignorance is not a defense. It would not hold up as a defense in a court of law.
They end up chatting for a while. He just ends up ghosting her next year. So at this point, she is 18.
A few months, 4 months before I turned 19. So I was still 18. My friend had bought tickets to his own tour, wanted me to go. And so I ended up going, even though I was like, yo, this guy kind of, I don't know. But I ended up going. And at the end of the concert, I went to go say hi to him, and he immediately recognized me. He was like, hey, it's you. Oh my God, give me a hug. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I actually tried to text you. And I was like, oh, well, I got a new phone. He hadn't talked to me for a year, and he was dating a girl named Ayala, I believe. So, and she was literally there too. She was sitting at his merch table. She had blue hair, if I remember correctly. He was like, oh, as soon as I said I had a new phone, he's like, hold on a second. And he went and grabbed his phone and then gave me his new number and said that he would text me later, which is exactly what he did. He texted me that night, and then I just was basically a little simpleton, little simp, and was like, oh, I hope you didn't need any help or anything. I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, it's all good. I just wanted to see if you wanted to come. But hey, also, I still think you're really cute. Thought you were cute, back then and now. Too bad I have a girlfriend. And I was like, damn. Well, yeah, I guess it is too bad. And he's like, well, hopefully next time I'll be single and then we can canoodle. Sorry, I was about to say something else, but so, and then that was pretty much the last interactions we ever had. I had forgot about it for a while, and then over time just like reflecting back in on it, especially like seeing friends that I have made over the year like talk about him, like in my later years, seeing his TikToks or YouTube videos being like, hey, you know this social repose guy? And I was like, funny story about that. And like obviously the older I got, I was like, you know, this was really fucking weird. Like this was actually kind of odd behavior, you know, and I was so young, and the things that were said, I don't know. But I just wanted to give my statement. I tried to collect as much proof as possible. And hopefully, you know, if anybody else has had similar experiences, they hear this and they're able to speak up, because a lot of this stuff, especially back in the scene, totally got swept under the rug. So yeah, but that's my story. And hopefully it wasn't too crazy all over the place, hard to follow along, but yeah.
And Katie took many pictures at that show. She took a selfie with Hair Jordan himself and also took pictures with her friends. Katie provided endless amounts of proof. She is incredible. What I have just shown you all is Richard Deese attempting to entice a minor in the state of Utah during the Reckoning Tour. So you're probably wondering, Riley, you have evidence of a crime. You should be reporting this right now, not making this video. The statute of limitations in Utah is 10 years from when the minor turns 18. Katie turned 18 in July of 2015. Yeah, he just missed it. Just by a few months, not even a full year. He just missed it. Before July of last year, this is something Richie could have been held legally liable for. I spoke with Katie about this and made her aware that she does have evidence of a crime. And I said if she wants to report it, that I would help assist her legally in any way that I can. But since the statute is passed, this is unfortunately not actionable. But FYI, the statute of limitations being passed does not mean that a crime was not committed. It only means that the crime is not prosecutable. It doesn't mean it wasn't committed. It just means it's not prosecutable. Again, you can all do your own research on this. The laws are laid out explicitly. It is clear as day. You and I are going to have a conversation right now, okay? Just the two of us. I'm not talking to the audience anymore. I'm talking to you. What I have just presented here is evidence of you committing a crime against a minor during the Reckoning Tour with Davi Vanity and Blood on the Dance Floor. The fact that you just escaped the statute of limitations does not change the fact that a crime was committed here and that we have evidence of it. I'm sure you are feeling the worst dread of your life right now. As you should. You deserve it. This is not like the cultural appropriation or the cheating or even the fan that came to your house. It's not like any of that. This is very different, and you know that. So defamation, the lawsuit, that's done now, okay? That's done now. You know that. That's done now. The absolute truth always wins in defamation, regardless of damages. Always. So whether you lose contracts, TikTok followers, views, your channel, whatever, does not matter. It doesn't matter anymore. The truth always wins. So when you try to sue me for defamation, for referring to you as a predator, and they ask me what evidence I have to support my claims that you are a predator, now I not only have the screenshots from 3 years ago, which were bad enough, but now I have this. And when they see this, they are going to have to verify the legitimacy of this claim and of this evidence. And they will verify it. And you know that. And you know that I know that. I have her government ID, Richie. Is a crime against a minor that you committed that we have evidence of. David, I hope you're watching this because you are in for the battle of your life and your career if you dare try to take this to trial now. Because if you do follow through with this defamation suit and they do verify this evidence, it will be legally on record that you did this. Just because you can't be prosecuted for this doesn't mean that this evidence can't be used against you in a defamation lawsuit. You have already deactivated your Facebook on top of removing over 400 videos, millions of views worth of content, more specifically, the content of you during the Reckoning Tour and with Davi Vanity and Blood on the Dance Floor. So you are screwed, okay? They will see that you committed a crime. You have already attempted to hide evidence, to erase evidence, to tamper with it. Stop reacting emotionally. Stop trying to hide and trying to intimidate. Stop all of it. Lay low. Stop trying to silence people and accept responsibility. For once in your fucking life, take responsibility, Richie.
Something very, very important to note. I believe this is where Katie had said.
But again, I can only just blame myself for being dumb and I was a cute boy, and you know, I won't even sit there and lie and say that I didn't enjoy the attention that I was getting from a cute boy. So
I should have seen the red flags, especially when you're that young. A lot of people want to see the best in people. And that kind of person can just really be caught off guard. They initially thought like there's some other Blood on the Dance Floor fan. His response to her asking how old he was. The response that odd to someone who just does not have that much life experience and is already in a situation where like they're with friends, you know, there are people their age around. A lot of them actually. A weird amount. As far as social repose in that initial meeting period, there wasn't any sort of specific reputation he had. Like maybe there was some sort of allegations or rumors about Davi Vanity at that point, but one, she'd already disregarded them in terms of her idol, and two, this is some guy like she got to know at least a bit, just got to that vague talking stage before she even knew. So she's already gained this level of intimacy with this person. Really no reason that she should have known or anything like that. Somebody who believes the best in people probably would have just assumed like, oh, he's probably also 17 or something. It's just being like a silly, goofy high schooler. Because high schoolers are not most sound judgment people. High schoolers do not have the most sound judgment.
5 people that night, like a group of 5. And I am still in contact with some of these people who can also verify my statements as well.
Per usual, foolishly forgot to private his Salt Lake City, Utah performance from the Reckoning Tour on his YouTube channel. I did pour through it. I took many screenshots of the crowd, and I asked Katie if she could spot herself or her friends or anyone she recognizes in any of these screenshots. She was able to find herself way in the back, which her own friend actually confirmed via screenshots I have. I am redacting the friend's name and profile picture, but I have all of the proof that I'm showing you in this video completely unredacted in my possession. She also took pictures with Richie's former merch person named Elena, and if you recall from my previous video where I showed the screenshots, one of the screenshots contained Richie talking about his merch girl Elena. So this is the merch girl that was with him during this tour. They also changed some messages as well, and you can actually see in this photo the Social Repose drum set in the background. And I even have screenshots of Katie's own friend talking about Richie, like Katie's encounter with Richie, her opinions of him, etc. Lots of proof, basically, of them meeting and talking, right? We have pictures, I have screenshots, she has her friend talking about it, the merch girl.
Good morning. I woke up and it was clearly instantly 8 o'clock because this was the first thing I woke up thinking about. It's been bothering me a lot, in case it's not obvious. And I think a lot of what's bothering me about it is just the fact that, like, so few people are talking about it. Because this has been going on for, like, a few weeks now. And it's kind of disheartening, honestly, amidst all of the various files and everything. At times, it just kind of feels like we are living in a culture that just does not care. And I do also think part of the reason why it just hasn't been getting picked up is because it was originally, I'm just flailing my tongue, that's But I think part of the reason why it's not really gotten picked up is because it's been primarily being covered by a woman, Brady Elena. I'm extremely frustrated. And I just really don't understand why things like this don't enrage people more, but I digress. I wholeheartedly believe it, honestly. I do. There's a very large amount of receipts. This guy has an extreme history of being just an awful person. I really do recommend you go watch the whole video, as again, I'm really just going through the most recent one, but there's a lot that's going on. There's a lot. And it's very clearly tried to be silenced by Richie, Social Repose, which is extremely angering. But imagine this guy being like, oh, I need to go perform, and then he like opens for Blood on the Dance Floor or whatever, your favorite band. Of course, like literally, of course, this fucking 17-year-old is going to be. He's so free. Social Repose did not have like a YouTube presence or whatever. So, the way that they met, very clearly, big. I do just want to really point out that Blood on the Dance Floor had a lot of teenage fans, and especially since she did not know about Social Repose, she didn't know anything about like his character, any sort of controversies really, or at least when it became a lot more widely talked about with the headdress situation that Richie wears, or wore. I'm really not sure if he still does. I try to ignore that he exists. But if you're going to this concert and some dude's just like, well, I'm not going to tell you, like, she has no reason to assume that this was anything sinister. If there's a ton of fucking other teenagers around, and you're like 5, you're 17, like, you haven't necessarily met, like, shitty dudes yet. And she does kind of blame herself throughout the statement, which I just want to make very clear, like, anybody who is going to blame a 17-year-old in the actual situation with the events that she would have been experiencing and the information she had at the time, there was no reason to assume that this dude was some creep. There was no reason. No reason. He could have just been like, I don't know, 16 or 17-year-old trying to be silly. Like, you know how high schoolers are. They're weird. They're weird. I'm gonna sip my diluted hot chocolate in a red Solo cup. Hi, Amby. Amby, can you say I hate Richie? He said it, I promise. It just didn't pick up on the camera. He knows English. Katie even mentioned, like, she's a fucking virgin, which, like, regardless, that situation is still fucked, but that's just an additional part that causes vulnerability. Doors for a calm and emotional presence. It's still an 18-year-old. You're not magically, like, a frontal lobe, a million developed points as soon as you turn 18. It doesn't go to, like, the 25 thing like that. That's just when the study stops. Your brain keeps developing, by the way. It's a really big misconception. Please, if you don't believe me, look at it. But anyways, where he says, I still think you're cute now and then, which, like, bro, you did not have to include that. Just period. That wasn't necessary. That's so weird. And I'm not really going to go into, like, any sort of moral argument just because, personally, I think if you're gonna start, like, arguing about 17-year-olds and, like, legality of that shit, it really just sounds like you want to fuck kids and you'd, like, go younger if you could. So, that's not anyone watching this. Yeah, that's about you right there. If you're saying that. If you're not, I'm sorry pointing's rude. I also really think I should be talking about it because, again, I do think a large part of why people are just not taking it fucking seriously is because, oh, it's a woman, like, oh, emotional, whatever the fuck, people just don't believe. But she's, like, has screenshots, she has so many receipts, she's contacted multiple people, this isn't even. And I'm sure part of it has to do also with the fact that most of the people involved are women. So even if they're cross-referencing, if the people don't believe this woman cross-referencing with other women, like, it just, I really do think that's impacting how some people believe all of this, which is ridiculous, quite frankly. But for something like this, especially when this dude has such a history, and I'm not just saying history of, like, creepy behaviors or whatever, like, he's been shitty. He's been shitty. He hasn't been this type of shitty, at least allegedly, or alleged to be this kind of shitty. But he does have, again, connections with some very not great people. And at this point, at the point of the Utah show, the 17-year-old Reckoning Tour, the first one, there was already some rumor and speculation about Dobby Vanity being, like, a creep to the company that he was with. Like, this is the guy he was touring with. But I was already really mad, obviously, when, like, the strike happened, because, oh, stop. If you are watching this, Richie, a strike has no water. You are a hypocrite, although I know you don't care about that. That's whatever. You like cheat on people. Just conceptually, once you send a cease and desist, at least personally, once I hear that somebody's been sent a cease and desist, it just makes me want to, well, now I'm gonna cause problems. Try to send me a cease and desist. I fucking dare you. And especially with the fact that some of these people do seem to be having some of my comebacks on TikTok, especially since that's a platform that, like, people might not know what they've done. I think it's important. I think more people should talk about it, especially dudes, also women, of course, and anything else. If you're going to be a fan of this dude after all he's done, I'm not even saying you're a creep about minors, but you're fucking weird and you clearly don't care about realistic and reasonable things. Thunder's cracking. I don't know if you can hear that. The world's mad at you, Richie. The world's mad. Another direct message to you, Richie. If you're watching this, you're really annoying and you just keep popping up. I wish you would just decide, maybe this ain't for me. But you are so clearly obnoxious, egotistical, narcissistic. I know that's not gonna happen. I know you're not the type of person to just step down out of the spotlight on your own, especially because, right, as this was happening, like within these last few days and weeks, Richie has been scrubbing so many of his videos, just like privating them, removing them. He either deactivated or privated his personal Facebook account, but they've been able to get some screenshots and whatnot before that happened. So I definitely recommend going and watching Riley's original videos. I think you should watch them. Yeah, and I do know it's kind of long, especially compared to like a YouTube short. So, but regardless of anything like that, this isn't something that you should just be trying to shut up. One, that screams guilty. Two, you should be able to stand up to scrutiny like this. You're a major figure on the internet who's been in several controversies and has surrounded yourself with several younger people, just your fan base, blood on the dance floor, lines between celebrities and YouTubers. It's become a lot more prevalent and a lot more of a power dynamic. And I do think it's especially dangerous because YouTubers, you do have that level of parasocial, oh, I know them in an informal way, which you really don't. And dramatic thunderclap. Jesus fuck. Can you not? The sky's mad at you. The sky is mad at you. I'm so full of spite. I'm so full of spite, and I think you should be too. I'm referring to everybody else now. Go make a ticky-tack. Go lip sync to the, like, don't lip sync to things. That seems in really poor taste. But just fucking talk about it. I don't know, it doesn't have to be my video. Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, share my video. I don't care. Share Riley's video. Actually, I just think people need to know about it because it's really fucking gross. And I would really like people to know where it's still in a state where they could seek out most of this information just on their own, because I know some people are gonna be like, oh, doctor screenshots, ooh, blah, 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 blah. But at least until quite recently, like, a lot of these things, almost, except for private screenshots, things like that, were, like, verifiable through checking other sources, cross-referencing things, and making a, like, defamation case or threatening one, and then removing all of your own videos that they used to supposedly defame yourself. Like, the content involves you, and now you're scrubbing this content saying it's defamatory. Ooh, if you did nothing, there's no reason for you to take down the video, man. Like, there's no reason. There's genuinely no reason. I think I'm just rambling a bit now, but yeah, I'm angry. I woke up angry. I will go to bed angry, and I think you should too. Kiss. I really do just want the main takeaway from this to be just go tell people what's going on and make sure as many people know. Like, and please, when you do this, really reiterate. Like, I know I'm just some random fucking dude. So me saying I trust some random fucking person online who is talking to other random people online. Like, I know that can just be allowed to just, oh, I don't want to blindly believe this stuff, but like you can search up a lot of these states, and there are specific pictures. Before starting to try to poke holes into anything, we're just trying to argue those points, because it's just go watch the original videos at the very least. Because I can't tell you to not. I mean, I can politely ask you to not be weird and an asshole, but I can't really stop that. I'm hoping that at least somewhat reasonable people see this. But yeah, that is about it. Art prints in the description. If you need thumbnail editor or whatever, video editor, hire me. Aha, hire me. I'll give you a kidney's worth of effort. I promise. I'll give you 3 kidneys. Don't ask where the 3rd one's from. Bye. Have a good day. Except for you, Richie. I hope you have an awful week, an awful month, an awful year, an awful decade, an awful, awful, awful future.